Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Spencer.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. Today we are going to do a review of Excavation Earth by Mighty Boards. Plays 1 to 4 players, 30 minutes a player, maybe after you know how to play the game.
Sure, I don't think that's terribly inaccurate.
Yeah, no, I don't think it took that long. We were learning. I'd watched some videos. I kind of set up the board ahead of time, so I knew how to play a little bit.
Right.
But to actually
Get the flow of everything.
get the flow of everything, you really got to play some rounds.
Okay.
So in this, this is way after everybody has disappeared from Earth, whatever has happened, and we
Okay.
are now aliens going, and we are scavenging for artifacts.
Nice, okay.
Right? We're digging up artifacts. We're selling them to different buyers at the market. So the board is like the whole world, and different regions are separated by colors, right? So we've got yellow, green, red, this green, teal, purple, orange. So Bob, how do these colors look to you? You're my expert. Can you tell? Can you differentiate pretty good?
At first, I was looking at the board itself, and I was like, "It's kind of hard to tell a little bit." But yes, that is
These
very
are all good?
orangey. Yeah, purple, yellow. It looks pretty good. There's
Right
no
on.
green, right? Because
Nope.
don't see it.
This is like the closest, and it's like
Yeah.
a teal.
That's what I say. As
green.
long as these two are supposed to be the same, we're good.
Perfect. Because that was like one of the things we talked about when we were
Sure.
playing is because I was like, oh, Bob would love this. And it's like, well, the colors might
Yeah.
mess
Yeah,
it
I
up. How
said-
about the guys? Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and they're all shapes.
Yeah, they're all
differently
different
too,
shapes,
so that
of
is super
course.
helpful.
I said while we were playing it, the colors seem vibrant enough that makes them easier to differentiate.
Yep.
Usually,
Yeah.
from what I've seen.
Cool.
So what were you going to say?
I was gonna say it looks like you can tell what happened. Like a big old crater.
I mean,
We got something here. What happened to Africa
it just
Yeah,
split.
broken
It's
half.
all
Oh, they
right.
got a band-aid on
and
there. It's
and
good.
the remains of New York spread.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Chicago.
Cool.
So what we're different races of aliens, and we are going to
Excavate the Earth.
we're gonna excavate the Earth. We're gonna scoop up a bunch of these artifacts. We're gonna move them to our cargo holds.
Okay.
And then when you do that, you can sample them, right? So this has got a symbol and its color, right? So you find the color and then the symbol.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Boop, and then you're gonna get end game points
Depending on how many of each.
depending on where you're at, and if you've got full rows or just a certain number in each row, right? Like so
Right.
2 in this row would get you 4 points, so on and so forth.
Okay.
The thing is, these cubes also you can we'll just go down
Exactly.
the thing.
So
So
a handy dandy player aid.
It is
pretty nice
Fantastic.
too.
it's pretty
Yeah.
nice. It's the wording's a little tall because or small, but it fits like a lot of stuff on there.
Right.
So it's got all your actions listed, tells you the cost, and then the conditions you need to meet to do that action,
Okay.
and then the outcome, right?
Sure.
So the easiest one is move. So everybody will have like 6 cards in their hand. They're all different. They're different colors. They've got a different symbol
Sure.
here, which is going to tell you the different markets
Locations, okay.
and locations on the board. These double spots are black markets where you can sell
Either one of those.
you basically have to play a card representing that black market, right? So I play this card.
You can go to that location.
If I'm here, then I can just sell whatever I want here, and you're going to get like face value. for
Okay.
it, right? Or you can buy from the black market. So the black market's here. It's constantly rotating.
Okay.
Every turn, the top tile moves to the bottom. So
so they're different.
so they're all different all
And
the
just- and
time.
It just keeps cycling over and over again.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And then there's different things you can do. There's other actions that will add tiles to the black market.
Okay.
But anyway, so the most important one is travel. So everybody starts with these 3 travel cards. That's for 2 movement, 3 movement, and 4 movement. You can divide that up any way you want between your workers, right? So you could go 1. If I spent the 2, you could do 1 and 1. You could do 1, 2, just however you choose to do it to get
Okay.
to where you need to be. You get a free action, right? You get 1 free action.
Huh?
I forget. Is it 1 free action or 2 free actions?
You get 2 actions.
2
Yeah,
actions.
None of them are
None
free.
of them are
actions.
free. It's the other
Yeah.
game we played last
Yeah,
night.
exactly.
You got yeah, so none of them are free, but you get 2 actions.
Very terraforming Mars, right? You get 2 actions. If you take 1 action and don't take the second, then you are passing. And if you pass, you are then done for the round until everyone else is
Even
done.
if you pass
Very.
the 1, so like on Terraforming Mars, you can pass once, and you can still.
I guess
play
you're right. You
again.
don't have to do your 2. I'm
Okay.
pretty
If
sure
you
in
pass
this
with
one,
your first action, you are out. I
Uh-huh.
know that for sure.
So
Yeah.
you can take 1 action, then pass, and still be in.
I would have to look at the right.
I honestly
book.
don't
I'm just
think
curious
so.
because we always used to say pass, which meant you were done.
Right, done.
Right?
Sure.
But so what you're going to do is you're going to play. You can choose to play one of these cards to
Okay.
move. Every single one of these cards has 3 movement
Okay.
on it, right? So you can spend these cards to move, but these cards are more valuable because
They got
This,
specific locations
if
too.
I'm here and let's say I'm in the purple region, I've got to be where I can excavate. I can excavate an artifact from a spot where I'm at. So if I'm at this spot, I can get one of these two. If I was at this spot, I could get this one. Now, if I had two guys there, you can actually excavate two different types of artifacts, which I think, does that mean, we'd have to look it up. I don't know if that means you could, if you had the one guy there, if you could take those two because you've got two different types of artifacts.
As far as I know, you can, yes.
Okay. So that's the excavate action.
Okay.
You can get two if you, and then, yeah. So what you do is you put them here, you commit them to your board, and then you can choose to sample them. And if you do that, that's where you put your cube
Populate
down
that.
here,
Yep.
and you've got to put a security guard to guard your sample. So,
Yep.
so you're committing your cubes down here
Okay.
to do that.
So the cube's like your security force.
Right.
And you might be wondering, why would you choose to do that? And that comes in later, basically, because while putting those cubes there are an immense amount of points, you have a limited amount of cubes for the game. And as we get later on in the game, there was a point where Tim ran out. And
Yeah.
so all of a sudden, he had to start reallocating his cubes and start losing points from here to be able to even sell more goods and stuff like that. So
Okay.
So here's another fun thing in this game that you can do, because there's a lot you can do. Another action you can take is a market action. So up here, all the different markets represented by these symbols, right?
Yep.
So all those symbols match different locations down here on the board. So if I'm here and I play, actually move me over.
yeah,
one.
one where you have a matching color.
Right. So I'm going to play this symbol. This symbol matches this. So I can take one of my cubes and I can put it in that market, right? Now what I can also do is I can choose a color of a guy. So let's say I got a bunch of purple. I'm going to take a purple dude. That's a buyer. I'm going to put him there. And then if there's any of these white buyers available, you can add one if there's room. If there's not room and you were to add a guy, they all slide forward. The front guy bumps off, goes back to his thing. So you populate the market. This allows you to populate the market with buyers that you're going to try to sell to. You see what I mean?
Because they're looking for what you have. Or,
Right.
I see.
And if you can manage to sell, so I've got these two here, right? You're only going to sell one thing at a time.
Okay.
But if there are multiple buyers in locations, like here, if I'm set up here, right? There's a purple buyer here. And technically here I've got three buyers because the white guys here,
Buy
these
anything.
dudes will buy anything.
They're wilds.
They are wilds. So if I took, now we'll go on to the sell action. That's basically what the market action lets you do. It lets you put a cube in the location of the space you played, and it will let you populate that market with some buyers, right?
Okay.
Attract some buyers there.
Sure.
Now, if you go to sell, you just have to be at that location, play that. I'm taking a sell action. Or no, you don't even have to be there. You can be
Correct.
anywhere. You just discard any card you want. It can even be one of these. That's right.
Which
I'll get
again
'em.
goes, you haven't seen this up close, I believe, which again goes into this. Basically, white card action means just discard a card to take the action. Yellow card action means the color has to match. And the white card with the little symbol on it means the symbol has to match.
Yeah.
Super,
Okay.
super
It's
nice.
very
Super
straightforward.
easy.
So if you go to sell, if I go to sell here, well, actually, I'm going to take a sell action. So I've got two, because these now are traders here, right? So I've got two traders there. I could sell these two artifacts. So this guy is going to give me $2, 2 credits, because you get 2 per character. And I'm going to get 2, 4, 6, even though I'm only selling one artifact over
They
there.
all pay you for
They
it.
all pay you for it.
Okay.
So then these go away. These cubes that I used for the traders now go over to the mothership, and they go in the appropriate spot of where I was, right? So that symbol is there, and then that symbol is there. So now they go there. You're going to score points at the end of each round for majorities in each of these locations.
Because you sold the most of those.
Right.
Basically.
And then these buyers all move here. If there were buyers sitting there, they get bumped out and go back to here. Here's the other
Every
thing.
time someone takes a sell action?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's the other thing is these also function as tracks for how high demand the items you're selling, right? So purple is the highest demand. Well, it's tied with green, but it's one of the highest demand items. So that means you're going to get 9 extra credits for selling
The most popular
purple
item.
artifacts.
Okay.
So the market is also going to fluctuate as different buyers, right? Because if somebody else sells yellow, these guys go here, right, for example, and then these would go back.
And all of a sudden, purple's not as
Purple's not as valuable now.
valuable.
You see what I mean?
Yep.
So the market like rotates, fluctuates. Then you've got command. So command is
Super nice.
it's super nice. You just got to have a matching icon. So if I've got a dude here and I played this card because this icon matches that card,
Yep.
I can take a cube and I can place it here as a trader, and I can place one up there as an envoy.
Oh.
And that's what that does.
Okay.
That is just dropping dudes right there.
You can instead. Yeah.
Or so up there at the top, there's those cards right there.
Yeah.
You instead of placing a dude, I could pull one off and do that action.
Oh, okay.
Now, there's you've got to think about it, because if I am fighting with Dan for majority in one of
Right.
those,
You
like
don't want to pull too many guys out of
is
there.
that benefit of that action? Like
Right.
if I'm nowhere near winning it, I might be like, yeah,
Right.
I don't
somebody's
care.
Like, somebody jumps ahead and sells a bunch of them, and you're like, well, I'm not going to win that one, so I'll just pull that off and do the ability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Exactly. And they are very nice abilities.
they're really good. It could be like refresh all your fuel cards.
And it looks like they probably change up each game.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a whole deck
Mhm.
of cards. You get random ones. So they don't, in the first round, they're not there.
Okay.
Second round, you can activate them. And then in the third round of the game, they flip over, and it's a better version of
Okay.
what the
How
original
many
ability
rounds
was.
to the game?
3.
Three.
So, okay.
So you're going to go through another action. You can take a smuggle. That's where you're going to sell at a black market or buy. So you just have to have a symbol matching the black market you're at. And all the black markets have 2 symbols, right? So there's 3 different black markets. So you
And
play.
it's important to notice because it might not be super obvious to people because it's like faded stuff, but the map does wrap around. That's what
Yep.
these mean. It
So
shows
there's-
a symbol of what it is connected to.
Right. So
like
this
faded.
from
Oh, yeah.
here you can move to there.
Got you.
Like the Earth.
Like the Earth, it's
Well,
round.
around.
So
No.
they say.
Listen,
Allegedly.
we all know it's hollow, but it's certainly not flat.
Is this the Mercator projection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to sell at a black market, you're just going to sell your item, and you get the face value price. So up here you get 2 credits per buyer, and then you get
Plus
a
the
bonus. But here you just sell it straight up, or you could choose to buy from the black market. You buy the top one of whatever stack you want, and you pay 1 credit more than what the value shows. So this one
Oh.
says 1, so you'd pay 2.
But then when you go to sell it, you're only getting 1 for it, unless you manage to sell it through that market.
No, if you sell it through the proper
Well,
market.
right. If you buy it from the black market, though, you're probably not then immediately selling it back to the black market for cheaper.
Correct. I mean, not right away. But
I mean,
I mean,
if
in the
you're-
future too, it still ends
Sure,
up being always
correct.
the
You
same
could-
amount.
yeah.
Right.
But
If you were
wanna go
desperate.
through the proper channels. Yeah. Well, I didn't work out the way I thought. Let me get something back out of it.
Yeah.
And so then the last action you can take other than pass would be to survey. So up here is the survey. These cards up here tell you what artifacts are going to seed the board in between rounds.
Oh, okay.
So we know that orange will populate, yellow, and then red.
Okay.
So, but maybe I'm like, man, I have already sold so many red. I don't need red anymore. I'm going to do this. I'm going to survey. So I'm going to play that. This gets discarded. I put a cube on it. Now nobody can replace that because it has
Nice.
been surveyed.
Right.
And then what you get to do is you get to draw. Don't you
Yeah,
get
you
to
draw. There would be piles of all the resources
Oh,
here,
yeah,
but I'm just
yeah.
going to take from the black market.
Sure.
I believe you draw 3, right? It's either 3 or 2.
I drew 3. You draw.
That's your ability.
You draw 2. So you take 1. You keep 1, right? And then you put the
And,
other one. Or no, 1 goes to the black market.
Yes.
I was used to my ability.
Okay.
Yeah,
exactly.
one goes on the
Asymmetric
board
powers confuses a little bit.
sometimes, but not in a bad way. So I could do that and then that basically.
Oh, I see.
But this guy had a power. Oh, this is the smugglers. I had a power where I could, every time I surveyed, I drew 3, kept 1,
And then did that.
put
with
1,
two.
and then put 1 down.
Nice.
And then
That's real
also,
good.
and then you get to guarantee what's coming out, at least for you.
Right.
And then the first person to survey gets an initiative token, so that moves them up in the player order.
Okay.
So you could survey any time, right? And then so
Right.
rotates it around, blah blah blah. And those are all your actions. You go until your hand is empty or you pass, right? And then after that, you actually draft your next 6 cards. Like everybody's done, you score for that, which is just getting credits.
Okay.
Credits are your points, but you can also spend them. And then after that, we go for 3 rounds. At the end of 3 rounds, you then also get credits for these. You do that again, and I think that's it, right?
As far as I remember.
And in between rounds, you'll also, anytime the
Yeah.
markets are low here, you will draw cards and pop new guys out.
So
and
there's 3 in each
fill them
one.
up so there's 3 in each one.
You can tell that by the little shading on there.
Yeah, they do a good job,
Pretty
right?
handy. Yeah, yeah. When somebody can just look at the board and kind of like intuitively
Yeah,
tell
in-
like what's
like,
going on,
guess.
that means
Yeah.
Yes.
the iconography is good.
So I know that took a little bit longer than what
yeah.
we normally.
So that's how to play.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's how to play.
Yeah, I kind of felt like for us to really.
Yeah, especially because neither of them have played it yet.
Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
order for them to have any input here, they need to kind of know what they're walking into.
Right, and this game, in my opinion, kind of deserves a good explanation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say deserves. You desperately need a good explanation.
Sure,
Like
sure.
this game is crunchy and thinky and like I know we're kind of fading into the review part here, right?
Yes.
You do a draft at the beginning of the second and third round of 8 cards. Everyone gets 6, and then the last 2 are discarded, right? So you get multiple options. But those cards are just colors and shapes. Orange, this shape. That's all the cards are in the entire game. You draft 6 of those, and you are setting up the entire next round with just colors and shapes. And it is probably the most complicated draft I've ever played in my life. You're just looking at this, and you're like, what am I even trying to set up? So I need to, in order to survey, okay, if I want to survey yellow, I need a yellow card. But then but then I need to excavate the yellow. So then, okay, I need 2 yellow cards. But then I'm going to need the market matching the market that I'm going to go at if I even want to market. So then, and then you're setting up this entire round.
Every round, I just hear this guy mumbling to himself. The whole
Yeah,
time.
I'm like, hold on.
Now, do these block people? Like,
Nope,
okay.
nope. You can.
It's
you
not
can
a
share.
worker placement game.
Okay.
Yeah, just a movement.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
no territory control
Yeah.
or anything like
Other
that.
than that, but that's still not
Yeah, that's
blocking.
the only territory control barely
Sure.
counts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
It's like majority,
Right.
area majority.
Big
is
fan of
different.
excited Goro here. I don't know why they went with that for
Well,
the
that's
player
because
marker,
it looks
but
like the mothership.
I know.
Oh,
I know.
goober.
I was trying to figure out what that was.
Flip it over so it's upside.
There we go.
Oh yeah. There you go.
There we go.
But so, anyways, components wise, I love the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
I love the board.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the aesthetic of this game. I actually kind of enjoy the screen printed meeples for the. I don't need miniatures for this,
Yeah,
right?
the miniature would take up more room on the board. You'd have to have a bigger board to place all the minis.
And being just not a worker placement, you really don't need to have.
Yeah, well, and I think
I mean,
they
it's not a
did the
war
screen
game.
printed cool thing, right? Because completely unnecessary. They could be yellow meeples, right? Except you have yellow market meeples and green market meeples, and these are the player colors. Kind of on accident, right? They just used
Well,
similar
not all the
colors.
player colors because there's black and
yeah,
brown.
sure.
And
I do
gray.
appreciate the different shapes of those.
I'm just saying,
But
like,
they are
you know.
shaped. It's
I mean,
nice.
they
They're
are
unique.
slightly different shade, but they're close enough. That
Sure, that's what I'm
most
saying.
of
So
them
why
get it
even have all these two-toned yellow meeples when just have this really nice
You can tell it's
screen
this
print
guy
thing.
here.
yeah.
Yep.
It's not him.
the guy on the
Remember,
front
he said he
cover?
grabbed the wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ones.
yeah. I sound like that doesn't look like him.
But the iconography is really strong. In this
Yeah,
game.
I was so happy. We talked about that multiple times, and this player aid, while it's a little confusing at first because there's so many shapes, once you actually understand,
What it's
that
saying.
just means that.
Right.
It looks more complicated than it is.
It
you
reminds
know?
me of the iconography from Race for the Galaxy. A little
I
bit.
knew you were going to say
And
that.
you were going to say it. 'cause
I haven't
it-
played it, but
well,
I've
you've
seen
seen
it,
the
and I know what you're
exactly.
talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, components, I don't really have any issues. I've seen people get nice metal coins, if that's what you're into.
Sure.
Because that is literally all the victory points, so that you're going to be constantly moving and exchanging them. So if you really want that clank, then
I mean, I would
you can.
probably play with metal coins.
well, sure, why not?
Because I have extra that I keep
Right.
out, like
Yeah.
just in case.
right.
But these are fine. There's nothing wrong with these. I have no, they're well constructed.
Yep. I like the dual layer.
The dual layer.
Exactly, and that's
boards-
the only thing, like the only 2 things that need to be dual layer or
Agreed.
dual
This
layer.
one is
I
also
guess
dual
that
layered,
too.
but
That doesn't actually matter
Didn't really
as
need it,
much.
no.
Well, but
but-
it keeps the cubes in their spot as people
Yeah,
are
I guess it
Correct.
would
I'm
be
just saying,
cubes in
like,
there.
none of this
Yeah.
needed to be. None of that needed to be, right? They
But-
did it intelligently, not because people like it.
Right.
Right? And that's nice.
Also, it saves them a little bit of money not to have to do it here.
sure, but again, doing it would have been overkill, is what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah,
Yes.
but practically, it's very fine. It's very fine.
It looks
So
good.
I didn't find this game, while it is very thinky.
Mm-hmm.
This game was not hard to teach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the rule book is pretty solid. We
Okay.
figure everything out is pretty straightforward. Works like you think it should.
Yep.
The only thing that kind of threw me off every once in a while is remembering that it's selling to the multiple sellers, that part's counterintuitive where it's like I'm selling one artifact, but there's 3 guys here that are going to pay me for it. You know what I mean? Where normally you think it's like a 1-for-1.
Sure.
That's the only thing. But
That can seem a little tricky.
once you wrap your head around that, and it's not the end of the world, right? We just pay attention. Oh, hey, make sure you're grabbing those guys. You know that all of those guys are buying, so you get money for all of those. That was the only thing like counterintuitive.
Right, I would definitely do things in order in this game.
Yeah.
I say that about every game, but I understand that like there are some people that really like being efficient, and so they just kind of skip ahead and like, well, I know
right.
what's coming next, and
Right.
they start, and it's just like, please don't do that in this game.
No,
because
'cause-
the cubes need to move, because then that
certain order.
procs something that makes the people move, and then those people go back, and then those people go here, and like, please
Right.
follow the order
Yes.
of
Operations.
of operations.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very important
Yeah,
in
and
this
that-
game.
But it's not so much that I would call it fiddly because I feel like
I don't
it's,
think so.
I feel like you know how Zulkin you're moving the wheel, right? And everything just happens as the wheel moves, or Barrage, you know, and it just all makes sense, and it's all just all these little cogs moving on the board, right? As it's and everything just flows. I felt like it flowed very well, like it all once you understand that selling moves guys here, and then you know, and then as you sell the artifacts, they are removed from the game.
Oh.
So they become scarce
Yeah.
potentially,
Okay.
because there's not equal amounts of all of
each one.
these. So that changes things up, right?
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of things I really, really, really enjoyed about this game, and not very much I didn't like about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we give it our. You want to give it our numbers?
Yeah, sure. So
And-
Tim and I will rate it. I will say after just one long play, so you know our numbers could change in the future, and
Sure.
we're looking forward, especially to these.
Yeah, I'm
guys
gonna send
getting-
this home with you so you
yeah,
can get it played.
getting their numbers in on it and everything.
let's find out what you think.
But we'll give our initial 0 out of 10s right now, and then we will average those together, and that will be the board game rundowns score.
And then we'll
for the
revisit
game.
this in a year or whatever.
We'll
come
probably
back to
revisit
it.
this one before then, just because Bob will probably have a lot to say.
Yeah, and if Spencer, and if Spencer gets a chance to play it, because
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go and play with him.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
right.
I
There we
think
go. Be
because
good.
I think this is something you guys will enjoy. So yeah, so all right, Dan, where you at?
Okay. So this game
Don't you rain on my parade?
This game is super tight, which I tend not to love because it's very interesting, right? Because okay, well, no one can block what you're doing, right? But you only have 2 actions per turn, and when you sell something, everyone leaves, right? So if
That's where you
Spencer
can
here-
block people.
right? If Spencer here is clearly setting up to sell yellow, then you could just be like, okay, I sell yellow. And as long as you have a cube everywhere Spencer has, there are now no more yellow merchants out on the board, and
I lost out on like 30 credits.
yeah,
and,
in like the last turn, right?
One of the
Because-
last
You're trying to
turns.
do too big a one. And
Yeah, and Tyler was just like, if I don't do it now, Tim will get a bunch. So I guess I'll just do it now for less than I wanted, right? Yeah, whatever. So it's really tight, which I don't tend to love when games are really tight to where you can feel your entire strategy crumbling beneath
because
your
if somebody
feet.
did one move.
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah.
like, climb back up the, you know, I tend not to love that. And like I said, part of it is just because it is so, it's the most difficult draft I've ever done. And I might just be a minority there, but like, yeah, looking at these cards and just being like, okay, well, I have 2 green, a red, and a yellow, and I have these shapes. Well, how the heck do I set up an entire round
Yeah,
on that little bit of
sure.
information, right? It is a little thinky for me. So the mixture of the thinkiness and the tightness, I want to play again. I did not love the game is I guess the sentence that I would say, but it's
Sure.
not like I disliked it. I was just like I was not ready at like around midnight
Right, for that level of crunch.
that.
Yeah.
You know, that was heavy.
Right.
So I don't know. Number wise, I would still recommend this game though. Is the thing, right? And I've always said in the past, if I would recommend a game, I feel like I personally have to give it a 7.
That's at least a 7, right?
I just that's a mental thing that I do. If I give a game a 6, how am I recommending a game that's barely above average?
Yeah.
You know, that's
Right.
how
Right.
that's how I say that. So I have to give it a 7. The components are nice. I love the art. The theme is really interesting. I'm gonna go for now with a 7.5. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna see where that changes, especially after playing with Bob and losing by like 200 points. We'll see
Sure.
where
might
my
come down in a little bit.
yeah. Yeah. We'll see where it goes after that.
Oh,
But for now,
Bob will crush at this game.
I know.
If
so.
he,
this is gonna
he
be
rocks
another.
it like-
This is gonna be another smartphone.
yeah, it
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah, I really
could
see
be.
it coming.
Could be.
So yeah, I'm gonna drop it at a 7.5 right now, and we'll see what happens in the future.
Okay.
So
I recommend checking it out though if what we've said sounds interesting.
Right.
So I actually will agree with you that I don't always love super tight,
Sure.
too tight of games. But I feel like, and maybe I just was lucky, or maybe it's just the way that I played, is that I left myself enough options that I wasn't like totally devastated
Sure.
by every turn not lining up perfectly.
Not to rain on your parade too, but you were the only person who knew anything about the game. Tyler and I went in completely blind, so that obviously
Sure.
was a little nice too, of being like, "Hey, I string these things together." I'm just saying it was obvious.
I didn't. You give me too much credit because I set up the board and I knew I had a vague idea of what the actions did.
Sure. No,
So-
I'm messing.
You guys got outsmarted by a dummy.
Yeah.
You just feel bad about it. So normally,
It's a lot.
Normally, I don't love games like Agricola for that reason.
Okay.
Right? Agricola is so tight. That's like one of the tightest games I can think of. And this potentially could be tight. You're not wrong. And normally I don't like games like that. I was lucky enough, I guess, because I didn't overthink my strategy, or like I tried to have a couple of options, right? So it's like, okay, well, this may not be my favorite card to have because I don't need purple, but I need that symbol. So I'm going to keep some of those. So then I've got this I can use to excavate or survey. And then I've got this one still to trigger my market, right? You know what I mean? So I had some ideas, like that. And I played it kind of loose like that. Tyler did really well. Like I only beat him by 10 points. It was
Close.
It was a closer game.
Which he
did-
was like really suffering the first half. He
He
did
was.
not understand what he was doing. He also, I think part of it was just that he had a player. We all had one, but like it was kind of off to the side. And he just never
He
looked
just
at it.
hardly ever looked at it.
So he kept like asking questions. We're just like, it explains it pretty good on there and stuff. So he was kind of suffering a bit the first half, but he like halfway through the game, he was like,
When it
I
clicked-
understand how to win.
When it clicked, though, it was like, oh boy,
out.
like here it comes.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so I agree with you on those things. It is that kind of game. It is a tight action selection resource, set collection kind of game. But for me, I just really enjoyed the whole process. Like the whole time, it's like. It maybe because some of it's the theme and the art and everything. So the whole time it's like, this is a game I shouldn't like.
Yeah.
Like just because of the way that it plays, and it's very complex and very tight, and could be very punishing if you have like a bad round. But
Yeah,
I guess I didn't have a bad round.
that's
you know?
true.
I didn't
Yeah,
have.
that one bad thing at the end.
I had
yeah.
one bad thing happen to me, like one bad turn, and it wasn't
Right.
even my turn; it was somebody else's turn, and I was still able to kind of maneuver around that. But man, I had a blast. Like I really enjoyed this. I like the theme. It was one of these where it's like I was already thinking before the game was over, regardless of the outcome. It's like I can't wait to play this with some other people, because I know other people that are gonna absolutely love this game. And so no pressure, Bob, but I think you're gonna love this game. So I'm gonna give it a 9 because this game is
real good.
because when this game does it like Mind Clash kind of, right? So Tricarion is a very tight, crunchy, tough game. Anachrony can be like
Yeah.
that. But when they click for me, like I am over the moon for it. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, right? So when it hits, I'm like maybe even more excited that it's like, oh, it's this really hard game and I really like it. But so that gives us an 8.25
Thanks,
for
Bob.
now.
Correct, for now.
But we will revisit this. So what were you gonna say?
So my question to you is, so like there are a lot of these like super tight games where it's like, okay, you have 12 actions in the entire game.
Right,
You had to-
right.
Do you prefer games then that would play to a point value as opposed to so many turns, or do you think that by limiting the number of turns it takes, it keeps it from overstaying its welcome?
Yes.
I'd say
Okay, thanks. I've been mom.
I'd say a game with 3 rounds is very difficult to overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
I'll say
Yeah,
that.
I
But
mean-
it also didn't feel like I didn't have enough actions.
So
Yeah.
so
it's
here's
just the building the action.
yeah, I never felt like I was running out of action. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end, it's like, man, if I could
Hey,
do
couple
two
more
things,
yeah.
but it was never so much that I had this huge engine and I never got it to
use
fire, right?
That's
It
one of
also-
my big things too. Is like you build this, and you're like, okay, now I don't have any.
I
turns left to
never
use it.
felt like that happened.
Okay.
Well, never.
And
In that game, I did not
and the
feel
only
like that
time that it didn't fire was because somebody fired it before I could.
Right.
Right.
And-
There
and-
was a thing that happened to me once where I needed a certain, we'll say teal thing, right? So I did the survey, whatever. I drew the 3. I got what I needed. I placed it on the board. But by setting that up, that was my second action. Okay? So that was my second action. Next person's turn comes around. I don't know which one of it was, but literally moved, grabbed the artifact, and kept moving. I was like,
Hey, thanks.
like all I did was my entire
Like,
turn.
oh, look, there it is.
Yeah,
Here it goes.
my entire turn was placing a token on the board for Tim. You know,
And he
so like,
appreciates that.
Yeah.
so that stuff, that stuff happens, and it's
Yeah.
just like, how do you time your
So
actions?
Yeah,
Sure.
but I guess the other thing is if let's say I'm just not going to have enough to do, right? Like I've got one card, which is basically going to just let me do one action. I got one card left. And it's like, well, I don't want to use this card now. You can pass.
Save
and
it.
when you pass, it carries over to your next round. You just put it off to the side so that when you're drafting, you don't get it mixed up.
So you then have 7 cards.
Exactly. I don't believe there's a hand
I like
limit.
that.
No,
I don't
yeah.
think so.
Cool. They kind of do it like, oh, I'm going to save all my cards to last. And when everybody's done, like, all right, now I'm going to take all my turns.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
There was a little bit
Last
of
round, you're taking 30 actions.
Yeah.
Sure.
There was a little bit of
that'd
that
be
because, and I kept selling it. I for whatever reason, was able to keep selling at multiple markets. Like I had timed that really well. So it given me a bunch of points. And then when you sell at multiple markets, you get to draw a card.
Yes.
So,
Which I think I was only able to do once or twice, and I genuinely think I forgot to draw the card both times too. So that hurts how many actions you can take in the game.
so it gives
right?
you, it gives you more,
Right.
it rewards you
for playing well.
For playing
Yeah,
well.
which is nice because that's not. It did
Not
not
necessarily runaway leader.
Exactly. It did
Yeah.
not feel like that at all while it was playing. It was just a tiny handout. Congratulations, you
Yeah.
did
And,
something right.
and it's
You
not
did it
even
right. Here you go.
it's not even guaranteed to be something you need.
Sure,
Also,
sure.
right? Because it's like, well, I'm nowhere near that symbol. I don't
Right.
need. I've already sold a bunch of blues.
Sure, but
like, I
even
don't-
the guaranteed free movement could be huge.
but
Yeah.
but it does every card, multi-use cards, always really fun. Like
I love
a
those.
huge
Like the multi-use.
a huge bonus. So yeah, this is Excavation Earth.
there's so much to talk about with this game.
This
Yeah.
might be like one of
this
our
was
longest
scratching
reviews.
the surface,
Yeah.
of this game.
But you get in there, and I would say if any of this, like Dan said, if any of this sounds interesting to you, just check it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I think you'll like it. If any of this sounds good, if
It's on shelves now already too, right?
yeah, it's out. It's
Yeah,
out.
it's
You
out.
can get. We got this off the FLGS right here where we're filming at. So it's.
well, if you stuck around this long, thanks.
We appreciate it.
Because this doesn't usually go this long.
It doesn't, but this game I felt like deserved the attention because even
Sure.
like Dan giving it only a 7. I mean,
Half.
there's a 7.5. There's still a lot of things to say about this game, right? I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot.
I
There's a lot.
find the sentence only a 7.5 pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's a good score.
It's pretty good.
That's fine. No, it's a good score. It was. But I mean, even you who like
I
had
know.
a less than optimal experience.
Yeah, sure. And again, I know I don't want this video going any longer, but I had been up since 9 a.m. that day, and we started this game at 11 p.m.
I got up at 6:30.
Like, no, I know. That's what I'm saying. So I'm just saying. I'm not saying just me. I'm saying like that's a rough time for us to pull this
no, we
out.
played late.
but-
We played late, and see if I had read the rules better and had a better grasp of the game, I would have known how crunchy it was.
Yeah, but like maybe next time.
yeah. We'll
I'm
play
actually
something a
quite
little
looking
lighter.
forward to trying it. That the way it all flows together, the thinkiness.
Yeah.
And there is
appeals to me.
a solo mode I have not tried yet.
Okay.
Probably will at some point in time, where you've got an AI called the clones. They've got their own ability and they do things and
Okay.
stuff. So,
Nice.
but yes, this has been a while, but
Yeah.
but it was worth it. I wanted to give it its due. This has been Excavation Earth, and for the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
I've been Bob.
I've been
And
Dan.
I've been Spencer.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. We publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.